Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Scribo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I had a couple of requests for readings, so I'm going to look at that. The first request was to look at the story about Tara Reid. For those of you who don't know who Tara Reid is, she was a woman who back in the, I think it was the 80s, was an aide for Joe Biden, and she is saying that he sexually assaulted her while he was working for her, and that she rebuffed him. It didn't prevent him from actually assaulting her, but afterwards she lost her position and lost her career. And as it goes, she did go to the Me Too movement to let them know, and they decided not to go up against Biden or prosecute. I'm not sure that I think that's what they do. They prosecute. I think there are lawyers here to prosecute these cases, but her case was not accepted as one that they would prosecute. And so there seems to be a double standard within the Me Too movement. They were very willing to go up, against, very much wanting to go up against Kavanaugh and Trump, but not necessarily Democrats. So I think they even dragged their feet on Harvey Weinstein. So if I remember correctly. So I had one of my viewers asked me to do a reading on her allegations. I was looking for the word in my head, allegations. Okay, so let's see. What about Tara Reid's allegations toward Joe Biden? Let's take a look at that first. Sorry, thought I saw somebody coming. Nobody. Nobody's coming. So today is the 8th of April. And just as an aside, Bernie Sanders did, what do they call it? Step down from his campaign, but that's not what they call it. Kind of put it on hold, right? Or I can't think of the word. Anyway. And that was not part of my decision to do this reading. I just want to be clear about that. This was actually a request from a viewer. It has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders and his decision. Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, so we have the moon here as the immediate environment. So this is definitely a very emotionally charged situation that we find ourselves in, or that Joe and Tara find themselves in. There we go. Okay. So this is very emotionally charged. Also with the moon, it's very difficult. There are some hidden things here. There are some hidden things. So it's very possible that things are being hidden. There are motivations here that are hidden, or there are truths here that are hidden. Let's see what's crossing this. Okay, we have the Knight of Cups. This says to me what's crossing it is Joe Biden's reputation as a decent guy, as somebody who is righteous and sort of on his horse, and he's going to save us from the terrible Donald Trump as the Democratic nominee. So there's a lot of we'll say there's a lot riding, literally in this case, the guy's riding a horse, right? On Joe Biden succeeding in a way. And so this is what's sort of blocking this whole situation. Let's see what's at the root of it. Okay, the Seven of Cups is at the root of it. Illusions and delusions. And so things, again, things are unclear. And I think when we get into this area, things are always going to be a bit unclear because it's such an emotionally charged issue. But this card also talks about the 7 deadly sins, one of which is lust. Okay. So I would say that there was definitely some lust involved here, at the root of it. Let's see what's in the past. Okay. So we have the 2 of Pentacles in the past. This is trying to achieve balance. Um, this could be her wanting to go to, Tara wanting to go to Me Too so they could help her. I don't know if she went to Never Again. I don't know if Never Again deals with political people. But this is her trying to attain some sort of balance. All right, let's see what's in the sky with this. Yeah, okay, so we have the Fool card, which is about new beginnings. Um, it's also could be foolishness, but I have a theory about that, what that is, and I'll talk about it after I pull all the cards. Okay, so the immediate future. This is the 3 of Cups. This is a card of sisterhood, actually. In other decks, there are 3 women and they have the cups up and they're celebrating. So it is an emotion card, but there's the emotion that's connected here is joy. The emotion that's connected here is joy. All right, how it's seen from the outside. All right, so we have the 5 of Wands. This is causing some tension, as it were, some stress within certain factions. 5 is about change as well. Domestic situation. Okay, we have the Knight of Pentacles here. I would say I'm just going to leave it there and then see what else comes up. I was going to say something, but I don't want to say it until I see the rest of the cards. This is the hopes and fears. We get the Queen of Wands. Empowered women, the hope. The fear, empowered women. And the outcome, the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. And I'm going to keep pulling and seeing if I can get a major arcana. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the self-made woman, or the self-made person. The Strength card. Okay. The Strength card in some decks is also a lust card. The Strength card is talking about overcoming your baser instincts, and rising above them and having the higher self be in sort of like in charge of your lower nature, your lower lustful self. So I think that, quite frankly, I think that this woman is telling the truth. Okay. This woman is telling the truth. So I'll say that right up front. There's no point really in her saying anything, saying other like, why would she put herself in this position? Why would she put herself in position? At the root of it is emotions. And the 7 of Cups in the Kabbalah is the 4711 vibration. So it's an 11 vibration. So it's about partnership. And it's about attachment and letting go, ultimately having to let go. It is associated with Venus. In the Kabbalah, it's located in Netzach, which is associated with Venus. And it is a Scorpio card. And Joe is a Scorpio. He has a Sagittarius ascendant, so he comes across as very jolly and sort of, like your funny uncle. But he has a lot of Scorpio. And there are a lot of things that we'll say, my grandmother would say he's got a lot behind the ears. We have a lot behind the ears. And he has been known to lie, and he has been known to change stories and take credit where it wasn't his credit to be taken. But he's also, seen as somebody who can talk across the aisle, although some people might say that he's more, in certain cases, he acts more like a Republican than a Democrat. But he has been in politics since the 70s. So we're looking at like 40 something, 40 plus years being in politics. It'll be 50 years in 2022. I think it'll be 50 years. So there's been a lot of changes through that time. And would I believe that he would do something like that? Um, yes. And I believe that from these cards, yes, in fact, this is something. Now, what can she do? Well, is this going to change anything for Joe? No. Mm-mm, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be the thing that like takes him down at all. Um, what I do see here is that by speaking her truth, she has empowered herself. She has empowered herself. She has, and this is not an easy thing to do. I've seen her a couple of times on different shows, and she's obviously not comfortable with this whole thing. This is not something that she's enjoying doing. Um, the outcome here is, I so the domestic situation. We get the Knight of Pentacles. I think that coming out in some way is going to help her financially, and not like she's going to get paid off for keeping quiet, not like that. But I think that there's a place for a woman who's willing to speak up like that. So that I think she'll be okay financially. This was the outcome card. The Seven of Pentacles. I feel like we're still not at the point where women are completely believed. We're still not at the point where women are more than just a an appendage, or a in this case a vessel for men, for their lust, for their power, for their appetites. Okay, from these cards. This card here, um, this card here in the sky is the Fool. And what I think the Fool means up here is um, this is bringing the conversation to a new level. Okay. As I said in the beginning, um, when it was Kavanaugh and Blasey Ford, then people were like, yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah, we got to speak up. But when it comes to somebody like Joe Biden, who is beloved by some, but who is the great hope against Trump, uh, which I personally don't agree with, but I can understand why people don't want to seem complicit in putting Donald Trump back in the presidency. That's really what I feel is part of this issue. They do not want to mess it up. They think that Joe Biden can beat Trump, and if they say something, or if they bring this up, or if this gets brought up, then it's going to be curtains for Biden. I would say, I mean, Biden could very well win, but if he doesn't win, it's not going to be because of this. It's not going to be because of this, because even though we have Me Too, I think there's a level of power that it still doesn't work with, right? That being said, this Fool card up top says to me that that is changing. So I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Joe Biden winning or not winning. What it looks like to me, what these cards look like to me more, is that it's the empowerment of the woman. Okay, the woman who's making the claim. This is her strength. Okay, this is her strength. This is her truth. The Strength card is located um, in the Tree of Life, on the path between Gabura, which is the ability to put people on notice, speaking the truth, finding your voice. This is about her finding her voice. And then we have Hesed, which is about the ability to say no. And it's all located in the throat chakra, right? That whole energy center. In fact, April, the vibration for April, a monthly plus universal vibration, is the Strength card. So what this says to me is that this was definitely something that happened. That it's not going to make that much of a difference to his campaign, one way or the other. I find it will empower her, and it brings this discussion to a new level. Brings this discussion to a new level, and then perhaps puts men on notice. It doesn't matter what party they're in. This is going to be a problem if they continue to do this. And of course, this happened, what, 30 years ago. 30 years ago, it was no big deal, right? It was like, oh, so yeah, well, she probably asked for it, probably wearing a short dress, maybe. You know, that was, and it was right after the Anita Hill thing, and we know how he treated Anita Hill. So it's not like it's a big shock that he doesn't think that a woman has agency over her own body, or that she doesn't have the right to speak up. So even if you like Uncle Joe. All right. So that's what I want to say about this reading. I feel like this isn't going to necessarily hurt him, Joe, but it is going to help her. And maybe ultimately that's what it needs to do. All right. So there's that. All right. I think I'm going to leave it at this. I do want to ask about, now that Bernie has stepped down, I want to see how Joe is going to do. Well, yeah, I almost don't want to see how Joe's going to do around Trump, because I'm not even sure what's going to happen. I think that there are changes coming and shifts coming that we know nothing about, that are going to change the whole sort of atmosphere of the presidential campaign. We'll see. I'm sorry if I am going to do that reading, but I'm not going to attach it to this. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe. Look, I know there's probably going to be some comments to this. I don't really, if they're going to be problematic comments, I'm going to erase them, because this is a healing space, and we certainly have the right to express ourselves, but I don't want anybody attacking anybody. If that happens, I'll have to shut the comments off. But most people who watch me are pretty cool, so I'm not too worried about it. But after the Tulsi debacle and my first foray into doing cards on the internet, I think my first question was about Kavanaugh and Blasey Ford, and I don't even go back to see what those things said, because some of it was just so hurtful and awful. It's never easy to speak truth to power, especially when you're a woman, especially when it has to do with something sexual, because you're constantly being re-traumatized by the whole thing. So I'll give Tara her due. Thank you for speaking up for the rest of us. It was a very brave thing to do, and I think it's something that we need to see. And ultimately, this kind of thing, while we would like to see the people who perpetrate these things pay, the real power is in being able to speak your truth and standing behind it, I think. So, all right, guys. See you later. Bye.